friends, I hope you're doing well. I'm recording this in November, but I managed to read this book in the last week of October, and it was the perfect spooky read. It's called Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton. This is one of those rare purchases for me where it wasn't BookTube or a friend that recommended this to me. I hadn't heard of it anywhere. I just saw it for the first time on the new releases table at Barnes & Noble, and the bright green color caught my eye, and it was my turn to pick a book for the book club that I belong to, so I decided to go for it. This was such a surprise to me. I had very modest expectations and it blew them out of the water. Disclaimer time though, I'm positive that I'm slightly biased towards this book because it takes place in Seattle, Washington. Do you see this really cute Seattle skyline? I actually didn't notice this when I first bought it, but after just admiring the shiny crow on the cover, I was just like, oh my god, there's the Space Needle. Like, oh my god, it's just so cute. I live on the east side of the state, just a few hours away from Seattle, and so the Emerald City holds a special place in my heart. I recognize so many of the places mentioned. If this had taken place in another city, I still would have enjoyed it for sure, but there's something about being so familiar with the setting of a book, especially this one, that makes the reading experience much more powerful. So in Hollow Kingdom, we are following a first-person narrative from the perspective of a domesticated crow named ST. He lives with his human, Big Jim, and a dopey bloodhound called Dennis in the Ravenna neighborhood of Seattle, eating Cheetos, watching the History Channel, and basically pretending that he's human. But his comfortable life changes forever when one day Big Jim's eyeball falls out of his head. This is a zombie apocalypse story told from the perspective of animals. ST is forced to leave his home with his canine companion and face a world that has already fallen into chaos and disarray. He's a crow with one claw in the animal kingdom and one planted firmly in the world of humans, and he takes up a quest to search for answers to the horrors that have engulfed his world, with a burning desire to save our species, the human species, and help his animal brethren survive known and unknown predators that now roam the streets of Seattle. This book was full of relentless humor, and it had me laughing out loud. So there's this one part I marked where ST describes an opossum. I'm not sure why everyone hates opossums so much. They may look like someone shaved the buttocks of a poodle and taught it to talk through its asshole, but they're generally pretty likable critters. I lost my shit when I read that line. A lot of the enjoyment you'll get from this book will depend on your sense of humor. It's pretty snarky and crude and wordy, not subtle, and like I said, it really doesn't let up. I think some readers might feel like the author is trying a little too hard to be witty and clever, so if it isn't your kind of humor, then you'll find yourself fatigued by it pretty quickly. But I thought that it was hilarious and well done. It grew on me. I started out having that worry, and it just very quickly, I found I took to it very well, and I just loved it. The descriptive prose extends to other elements of the book too. There are lots of solemn and heartfelt moments of introspection, very emotional scenes that bring out feelings of fear or despair, of sadness and joy, and just really simple things found in nature painted in your mind with very grandiose language. I think that the world of animals was well thought out and considered, with various communication networks established between them. There are chapters sprinkled throughout the book that are from the point of view of other animals, both in Seattle and in other parts of the world, and those chapters are written very differently from those narrated by ST, and it served to give each animal a distinct voice and personality, and it was really fun. You can tell that the author is an animal lover herself, and I think her choice to make ST have a human-like mindset works well because it provides an explanation for why the character does some pretty ingenious things even for a crow, and crows are smart. And, you know, the fact that he has some rather human-centric thoughts. There's some pretty on-the-nose commentary of some modern-day issues that I think works well with just the absurdity of the plot and the overall tone of the book. The post-apocalyptic world was familiar but so twisted, and I think this is where my bias really kicks in, because I have a personal connection and relationship to Seattle and the places in it, and seeing it crumbling and being swallowed, physically swallowed up and reclaimed by nature, was disturbing and saddening. So there are a lot of musings from ST, a lot of internal conflict on what being a crow means to him and what humans mean to him, and it's a reminder to the reader that life is precious and amazing. Humans, animals, and Mother Nature are all amazing. A reminder to not let ourselves become too separate from those other things in life. And this is all done from the perspective of this foul-mouthed trans species crow. There's adventure and exciting action sequences, a lot of intriguing who's who games to keep you guessing, and it was just a unique take on the zombie apocalypse story, and I loved it. As with any zombie story, there's a certain level of suspension of disbelief that you have to be okay with, especially as you get further along in the book and are learning the story behind what exactly is happening to the human race. But again, I think it works well with the overall tone of the book. I don't think it would have hit me so hard if it had taken place in another city, like I said before. But even so, I would have enjoyed everything else about it just as much. I love the humor in the narrative, the characters are entertaining, the setting, the atmosphere was creepy and dystopian, and you get a look at how our furred and feathered friends might deal with a zombie apocalypse on their own. This is the author's debut novel, so it isn't perfect. There are a few moments where what happens in the story doesn't really make sense with the overall message she seems to be trying to convey, but honestly, it was just such a fun and unique read that I still feel compelled to give this 5 stars. I don't think I've ever read a zombie apocalypse novel before, and I've never read a book from the perspective of animals. I know there are a lot of them out there, like older ones like the Warriors series, the Guardians of Ga'Hoole, and Redwall, but I was never interested in reading those growing up, so this is really my first POV from animals, from the animal experience, and it was great. So I loved this book. I think it's just, I'm glad that I just happened to see it sitting on the shelf. It caught my eye. I chose it for my book club read, and I think that the gals are really enjoying it. And my boyfriend read it as well, and he can be very critical, even about things he loves, and he had some things to say about it, but he really liked it overall, especially for a debut novel. It made him really curious as to if Kira writes another novel, how it will compare to this one, if she does. But yes, I loved this. I think it was a really unique experience. If you don't like that kind of crass, crude sense of humor, you're not gonna like this. But I thought it was great. A really fun take on the zombie apocalypse story. Hey guys, one last thing before I go. I did want to mention there is a bit of a trigger warning. There is some animal death in this book. It's not chock full of it, but there is some. It's a zombie apocalypse book. Of course, there's going to be some death. So I just wanted to just give you a little warning that there is some animal death in this book. If that's something that really bothers you, then maybe steer clear. But it was a great book, so if you can handle that, then I still recommend reading it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you've heard of this book at all, and if you do end up picking it up, please let me know what you think, because I thought it was really, really unique and funny. So thanks for watching again, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!